Harley Davidson knew what they were doing. They came out with a bike that was way different than what their crowd was used to. So they gave it those things to make them comfortable off-road riding. And that's the thesis of the video, because if you need to convert a very dedicated cruiser crowd to riding off-road, you need to give them this stuff because you want them to be safe. Here, I'll just try to read it. Okay.
We're professionals.
We're professionals.
Do you even have an intro? Like
no,
for your channel?
I was just thinking about it. No, God no, dude. You and I, we've experienced working together in like the opium den, right? Our delirium den. I feel like there's some desert delirium going on here, but that's why you watch us, right?
Oh, I hope so. It shouldn't be for our knowledge because we got very little of that.
Okay, so real quick, yeah, no, that's true. By the way, self-deprivation for the win. So I mentioned to you that the Pan Am, to me, was a gateway bike, a good ADV beginner bike, and you laughed at me, rightfully so. I should be laughed at because what I'm saying is crazy. They're doing something a little different. They're trying to get cruiser people, different parts of the motorcycle community, interested in the ADV realm.
Yeah.
So you're talking about two major differences. You're talking about people who have a lot of riding experience, which is one, and you're talking about people who have money.
Yeah.
And people who are loyal to the brand. Like when we were in Sturgis on the Pan Ams, we had a lot of people asking questions, and they weren't young and they weren't poor.
Yep.
I think that's important distinction to make.
So I guess to sum that up in fewer words, basically, we're not talking to the beginner riders out there, or necessarily the young first-time motorcycle riders.
No, not at all. The Pan America, what it did to me, it was the first ADV bike that turned my head. And it made me want to go off-road, because to me, ADV riding isn't about hard enduro trails or necessarily trying to beat your shit up. Like, to me, that's enduro, motocross, dirt biking, that sort of stuff. The ADV is the SUV of the road.
See, that's something where I came from the opposite side, I think. I came at ADV thinking, this is the motorcycle that you're gonna take off jumps, you're going to do your single track with, and I had to realize through pain and suffering that no, ADVs are not the best. Like, you can totally do it. If you're more talented than I, you can totally do it. Like, I watched Ari Henning ride a BMW 1250 GS on single track in Sturgis, and I was like, okay, bye. I'm just gonna sit back here poodling around on my KLR. It can be done, but I don't know that that's where they're happiest doing it.
And I personally don't think so. I think that but we're talking, there's a bunch of different types of riders. There are riders who wanna go do that. But to me, yesterday, we went out riding to a fun, national park.
What was it called?
The Tapioca Flats.
It's the Trona Pinnacles.
But that to me was like quintessential. We highwayed it there on comfy motorcycles with big gas tanks, because it's a haul. Then you get there and it's fun, and you get up on the top of a fucking mountain and you look around and you go, this is great. You get back on your comfy bike and you go on the highway and you go back. That to me is ADV riding. It's like the creme de la creme.
Yeah, ADV is this mix between riding on a highway and twisty roads and riding off-road. And it's that perfect mix where you get this, it's the Venn diagram, right?
Yes.
You have your off-road riders and you have your street riders, and then right in the middle, that overlap is ADV. And as long as you come to ADV understanding that there are some limitations to the platform,
100%.
you're going to have a really good time on these. And that's where, when you first came to me, you were like, the Pan America is an amazing beginner ADV bike. I was like, no. But now I'm starting to come around to that idea, because when you look at what ADV riding really is, it's not the crushing single track thing for most people. It's the blend of riding some off-road and some on-road. And that's totally
in
awesome.
comfort and style.
In comfort and style.
We can't detract from the price of these, what you're getting for the price, right?
So I will say this, I've said it a handful of times on my channel and people still give me shit about it.
I'm gonna get shit for this, so go on.
Oh yeah, but so the Pan America is actually priced really, really, really well for the flagship ADV crowd. The like base model 17.5, 17.9, that's a sweet deal for a Pan America.
Dude.
And it doesn't come with the laced wheels and it doesn't come with this or that, but you're still getting into the adventure touring angle for under a lot of the competition. I think the only one that's cheaper is the Honda, the Africa Twin.
And I've met several people out here who are like, man, I never thought I'd be an ADV rider, but the Pan Am did it for me. And one of them was another female my age who didn't have any off-road experience. But because of the adaptive rider height system and all the bells and whistles in terms of all the tech that keeps you upright and keeps you safe, it is confidence inspiring.
Yes.
That's not something I'm gonna find on a smaller ADV bike. This is gonna give me all that I want for the price point.
So we were talking to Justin from HD. He was the guy who led me and Kyle on our ride for the interview, and he's the guy running the footprint here. And he gave us the rundown, and you know, he was like, he was talking to you about the modes, and I was listening because I was like, yeah, I know everything about this motorcycle. I don't know. And then he was mentioning how when he was riding off-road, he does not ride it in the Off-Road Pro. If he needs to get like really zesty and he really has to work for it, he'll go into Off-Road Pro, but 99% of the time he's just in the regular off-road mode. And then I was like, huh, maybe I should try it in the regular off, because I'm the kind of idiot who's like, I want the best. I'm gonna go straight for Off-Road Pro. And sure enough, when we were out at the Tapioca Flats, I got to absolutely slide this motorcycle around like nobody's business. And I felt like a superhero. And that was the thing that I remember from when we rode them first in Sturgis, is I got on it with almost no ADV experience.
I was about to say real quick, neither of us have been on ADV rides before.
Yeah, when we went to that ADV ride in Sturgis the first time, I'd never been on a big bike before. And I felt like a superhero inside the first like 90 minutes.
Yes. By the end of the day, I had more than doubled my speed.
Yeah.
It took that quick to gain confidence on this bike.
Mm-hmm.
Then talking to Justin, who's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to say it, dude, but these demo truck experiences with HD, I don't want to come off like an HD simp, but I never thought in a million years that, you know, coming from Yamaha, Husqvarna, BMW owner, that I would be sitting here. But these people care.
Yeah.
You go to some other demo trucks and they don't care.
Yeah.
The things that they're doing and the programs that they're putting together to entice people into the ADV realm, to me, sets them apart.
For sure.
Justin saying we're out here trying to convert the curious rider. We're trying to make it accessible. They've got all the low ride, you know, they've got the shorter Pan Am set up for people. They're out here to help you. They're out here to go on beginner style rides.
It's hearts and minds, right?
Yes.
It's hearts and minds.
And so to see what they're doing, and they caught me, which is why I'm preaching it, never had any interest in riding big, gigantic bikes off-road. Pan America changed that. Also riding the GS 750 and some other big bikes. I hit sand on this yesterday when I wasn't paying attention because I got confidence and then zoned out for a millisecond. I hit sand and this thing took care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sand on the GS in Utah, I have never crashed so many times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me just like reaffirmed the
wizardry, the whiz bang.
The whiz bang. I know, it's like you just come up with dumb shit out here and then it sticks and you feel like an idiot, but whatever. That to me is gonna make, like I was talking to women riders who like that Pan Am, because of that, it's going to attract those people who are curious, and then you're gonna give me confidence inspiring tools on top of that. Well, hell yeah, I wanna go out and ride it around.
For sure.
And then on top of that, like everybody in the demo truck is genuinely wanting to get you out there.
Yes.
That's what you need. I need to push like that. You know, if I'm a cautious and hesitant rider, and if somebody's like, look, follow us, don't worry, whatever.
Just send it.
Just send it. Let's jump to the Discord. So I did something fun. I did, instead of like Q&A, I did change my mind because I knew this was gonna be a spicy video. There's a lot to talk about. I'm coming at this from a different spectrum that's not, hey, I don't have enough money for this and I've never been off-road. I'm coming from, hey, I'm fine to fucking buy this thing. A used one you can now
get
find
a
these
used special with the lace wheels for 15 grand.
I spent, just to give some context, I spent almost 13 on my R9T.
That's about right, sounds about right.
Right, so it's like, you want me to spend a little bit more to get this? Fuck yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, right. I'm okay to sign my life away for a loan because everything's a loan nowadays anyway.
Subscribe until you die, know what I'm saying? We don't have money anymore. Okay, so obviously we start off with Jake Smith, who says, how is a 1250 a beginner bike?
Right.
This is the nuanced stuff that I'm here to talk about because I'm a freaky bitch. I wasn't intimidated by the engine size. There are people out there like me who are not intimidated by that engine size.
Do you think it's because you just don't rev bikes out very hard? You don't take a bike to redline.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
And so I'm the kind of guy who I'm like, yeah, they gave me 9,000 RPM on the speedometer. I'm gonna use all 9,000s of them.
Once again, that's one type of rider.
Yeah.
And then you've got lady riders out here who are like, fuck yeah, this is the bike that got me into off-roading.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one part of it. Why is it's not always about engine size. I think it's about your experience and your anxiety level and your cautiousness. There's so many psychological factors that go into overcoming engine size.
I also think that the technology on here does a great job for making up for too much this.
Yes.
When I was out here for the training, they were like, just slam on the front brakes. We're gonna come to a stop, you have the front ABS on, we're in the dirt, just jam on the front brakes and see what happens. And I did it, I was like, okay, I'm not super sure about this, but they said it's gonna be fine. I did it and it stopped instantly. In the dirt, and that's pretty dang impressive. That's just something that's really nice about having all of the technology, which is why I'm starting to come around to the idea that you could practically start on something like this.
All right. Turbo Nerd says, are you saying a beginner or a beginner ADV bike? Beginner ADV bike.
Yeah. I
think if you're talking beginner, no. I'm not gonna throw somebody who's never been on a motorcycle on this. That's not what we're talking about. How do you justify 18 to 20K as beginner territory? I feel like you can get most of the performance of it on a cheaper bike like the Tenere without really losing anything. You lose a lot. I rode a Tenere 700. It does not come with nearly as many rider aids as this does.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why people like the Tenere, because
Sure.
they're coming for something that is as stripped back as it can get. That's one of the selling points for that motorcycle. But one of the reasons why I'm as comfortable sliding motorcycles as I am now is because I've had the Pan America being like, it's okay to break the back tire loose. Go feel what it feels like. And now I understand what happens when the tire steps out. And so when I do it on a motorcycle that doesn't have TC for off-road, I know what it feels like and I can control it. So the Pan America got me into a place where I'm comfortable with the slide, you know?
Harley Davidson knew what they were doing. They came out with a bike that was way different than what their crowd was used to. So they gave it those things to make them comfortable off-road riding. And that's the thesis of the video, because if you need to convert a very dedicated cruiser crowd to riding off-road, you need to give them this stuff because you want them to be safe.
Yeah.
You know?
It's got a set of training wheels on it, and that sounds pejorative, but it's got a set of training wheels that you can turn off. But those training wheels, they're actually a lot of fun.
they're a lot of fun, and for someone like me who doesn't have luxury of time to sit and practice and break bones and do this and whatever, give me this.
It's like when you're 8 beers deep and you go bumper bowling. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
When you go, it's like bumper bowling. You're gonna have a great time doing it, and you're gonna throw your bowling ball a lot different than you would if you didn't have the bumpers. But you're gonna learn some stuff for when the bumpers aren't there. You know?
Yes. And that's what I'm getting at. That's the shit I'm getting at. Oh, Dasco. God damn it, I love Dasco because I knew he'd bring exactly what I wanted to hear.
Did he write a diatribe?
He wrote a diatribe, so I'm gonna just read the last paragraph. So he mentions a ton of bikes. He loves Ryan F9. Ryan F9 makes great content, obviously. So he mentions all these bikes and he says, all these bikes are less costly and more important, lighter machines to learn adventure on. Yes, you love a composed chassis and a torque forward engine, Whitney, but there are other things that matter in an ADV, especially for beginners. What have you and I been talking about for years? Heavy bikes off-road are fucking awesome.
Depending on where that weight is put.
Depending on where the weight is put, because the R9T sucks.
And the GS sucks.
And the GS sucks. But I don't want lighter. Now, Josh makes a really good point. ADV riding, he's like, it's the worst because I want to go rip it. I want to have fun. I want to learn more. But
he wants to jump.
He wants to jump. And I'm all for that. I don't want a light ADV bike. I'm gonna be, the crosswinds out here on the highway are nuts. You know what stays planted? This guy.
That's exactly why I bought my KLR 650. I didn't want a small bike. I wanted a full-size motorcycle.
Yes.
I do better off-road on a full-size motorcycle that has more weight and is more composed than a dirt bike that is really snappy, snatchy, angry.
A dirt bike is there to completely break all of your habitual responses to keep the bike upright, and that is extremely valuable, right? You're feeling every rock, you're feeling every turn, and that's valuable. But on a heavy bike, you're not feeling much of that. The suspension is doing the work for you, but that makes me more confident as somebody who's spent a decade on pavement, right? I had zero dirt experience up until like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference. Ooh. This is what I wanted to talk about. Summit Coyote Outdoors says, as a beginner rider, I'd be terrified to take the Pan Am off-road simply due to the cost and its size. I'd rather drop a cheaper bike. Spite, can this take a beating off-road?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because I've beat the shit out of one of these.
People don't know that you can drop this bike and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I've done terrible things to a Pan America, multiple times, in fact. I did have a little whoopsie daisy the other day that was just a light tip over. And yeah, you have to turn the whole thing off and then turn it back on because of the tip over sensor, but blah, blah, blah. I've flipped one of these in the sand. It went like this. And yeah, I had to twist the handlebars to get them straight again, but the bike was fine.
Bike was fine.
They do, one of the things that Harley does that all manufacturers do is they will like put these bikes on shake tables and they'll just have them shake for days and days and days and weeks and weeks. And they're just gonna be like, all right, why is the back end all saggy? Oh, we blew an O-ring in the rear shock. Well, we gotta beef that up. They find the failure points to make sure that these things are solid. And yes, not every crash is gonna be fine. You're gonna have some crashes where you're gonna poke holes in cases, but that's gonna happen on any bike, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to break the thinking of like, I can't drop this. It's an ADV bike.
It's meant,
yes,
it's literally designed to be dropped.
What was Kyle saying? He was like, we beat up these bikes.
Yeah.
To an nth degree. This isn't, it's not like dropping a leader bike, you know,
No.
Oh, this needs to be pretty and I don't want to crack any fairings. It's like, this thing's gonna look better, you know, the more adventure-y it gets.
The more patina you put on a motorcycle, the better it looks, especially when it's an off-road bike. Yeah, okay, if you're trying to resell it and it's all scratched and dented, that's gonna be hard. But if you go to an ADV rally and your motorcycle's all shiny and new, people can be like, okay, I'll see you on the easy loop, buddy.
All right, Summit Coyote also mentions, this might change if I were somebody who had been riding other motorcycles for a while, but off-road it's a lot different and uses different skills, so maybe not. There's also something to be said about HD's reliance on electronics and their history with reliability. If I'm going to be out in the middle of nowhere while riding, I want something Japanese. Okay, wait a second.
So I was actually talking with the lead engineer for RevMax, and I brought up the specific idea of reliability in people's questions. And he was like, yeah, it's totally natural for people to have questions on a year one motorcycle. Totally get it. But we stand by this product. We did not put the badge on this assuming that people were just going to ride it on the highway. We sold it as an off-road motorcycle that you're going to go beat the shit out of. And I would like to point out that on the internet, we tend to hear the negatives more than we hear the positives.
Always.
When you're looking and you see negative reviews on, like, think you go to your local local Chinese restaurant in town. I always kind of look for one that's like 2.5 stars because that's how I know that they've never cleaned the wok and it's got the character and it really tastes good. But you're gonna get those 2.5 star reviews because somebody in there was like, yeah, this restaurant is dingy and dank and it smells funny in there. I'm like, yeah, that's because it's a restaurant.
Are you comparing the Pan Am to a nicely used wok?
Yeah, kind of. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you, as somebody who's consuming reviews, tend to read more negative reviews than you do positive ones. People who have a good time, they tend to not write reviews. It's just a reality.
Yes, 100%. I was asking you about the reliability of the engine, and you're like, yeah, you don't have to service the valves. And
no,
I was
you literally
what?
don't. You don't have to do any valve service on this motorcycle. It's just it just does the thing. You can just ride the wheels off of it.
Are you concerned about your electronics shitting the bed out here?
No.
No, neither am I.
Also, if it does, it basically they all have fail positive states where like the ride height device isn't going to get stuck down. It's just not going to lower. Like
right.
If the ride height device doesn't turn on, it's not going to lower. It's going to stay in the tall position because it's tall by default.
Right.
So it's not like you're going to get stuck with no ground clearance. It's not like you're going to get stuck.
You're not going to get a glitched out thing that you can't lug home.
That's
not
they
what's
always
happen.
fail positive. Whenever you have technology, it's we were talking with one of the guys from JPL the other day, and he was talking about how the Boeing Maxes didn't have any of the A grade certifications or whatever. Basically, if it's critical for the motorcycle's operation, it always will fail in a way that allows the motorcycle to continue to ride.
Right. So, anxiety quelled. But, that's what the big four have done. Mm-hmm. You've got, this is new, so it's going to get all the heat, and I understand that.
Yeah.
Naturally so. But I'm here to be like, yo, come on. I think that's it, Spite. I feel like I got a lot off my chest. I'm ready for the tornado of butt stink to happen about it. But I'm here to start a conversation with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not like attached to my opinion, and I don't want to I want to sit here and talk about it. I don't want to make anybody that mad. But the people in my life who want an ADV bike and have experience riding motorcycles, they have the cash for it. And they're curious in flagship ADVs because it's the only way that they're gonna get out on the road. Because these are older people, they're like, I don't wanna fucking sit on a dirt bike for an hour and a half on the highway.
No.
It's gonna pull in a different kind of crowd that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So, any closing thoughts, Spite?
Just go try one.
Just go try one.
Just go, and you know what? Don't take our word for it. Go take a Tuareg for a ride, and go take a Pan American, go take a GS, and try them all. And demo rides happen at a lot of events.
Yes.
Just go try one.
I really recommend too the off-road. They're harder to come by, but I recommend those. They are set up for beginner off-road people. They will absolutely help you. There's guides out there. It's a follow chase scenario. They want you to be safe. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know down in the comments all of your butt stink. and let's chat.
I thought it was just going to be screaming at each other through the comments.
Do you really? I don't want people to
and 1,000
scream.
exclamation points.
Don't scream. Come on, man. Let's just have fun. we're talking about motorcycles here.
People get so butthurt.
They get butthurt.
Calm down, guys. Have some fun.
They get butthurt. We're here to have fun.